Take yourself back to when you were at school. You walk into your classroom to find out that your usual teacher is off sick, and instead you have a fresh-faced supply teacher taking their place. This was your cue to sit next to your friends, make up a new name, or generally see what mischief you could get away with. So now, as the supply or new teacher, how do you deal with it? Hi everyone, I'm Natalie from My Progression, and this video is about how to ignore, divert, and challenge difficult behaviour in the classroom. This model can be used by any educational professional and with any age group. Now, this video is aimed at supply teachers or those with a new intake or anyone new to the profession, but the theory is for everyone. Naturally, students are going to try and push your buttons and see what they can get away with. So how can we tackle that behaviour quickly without coming across as strict, passive-aggressive, or out of control? According to a recent report, over 75% of teachers said they have to frequently deal with disruptive behaviour, with 71% of would-be teachers expressing concerns over joining the profession due to the challenging behaviour they may encounter in the classroom. All behaviour is a form of communication, whether that's perfect or questionable. While there are lots of factors that can influence individuals' behaviour, it often boils down to the attention they're receiving, how interested they are in the topics, how challenged they feel, or how supported they feel. Now, part of our job is to identify where that behaviour is stemming from. However, that often comes from getting to know the students very well. If you're a new or a supply teacher, you might not be afforded that luxury very often. So your first job is to manage the behaviour before it gets out of hand. The first thing you need to do is set out your expectations with the students. Without setting expectations, you're leaving the behaviour to chance. Best practice is to get the students to come up with their own standard of behaviour. This can be done by asking the students questions such as, how do you think we should all behave in primary? Or, what do you think I expect from your behaviour today with the older children? By allowing the students to join in and agree with setting the expectations, you're giving them the responsibility of their own actions without losing control of the situation. Try writing them on the board so they're easy to refer back to if any behaviour does start to get out of hand. No matter what expectations we set, as the research shows, it's likely that we will encounter some challenging behaviour during our day. If we let this behaviour continue, it'll become infectious. More students may join in and you run the risk of everything spiralling out of control. So how do we manage that behaviour? Well, this is a three-stage process. Stage 1, ignore. Stage 2, divert. Stage 3, challenge. So we'll start with stage 1, ignore it. One of the things we know is that challenging behaviour can often be a way for a student to get your attention. While this won't always be the case, it can be easy to identify when it's happening. Is the student looking at you whilst they're misbehaving? Are they laughing once they've got your attention? Answering questions with clearly silly answers? Your role is to identify what is okay to ignore and when you need to get involved. A pupil answering who was the third wife of Henry VIII with Kim Kardashian is something you should just ignore. A child flicking balled up paper at you or other students is not. If it is a low-level disruption, then ignoring it will show the student that they're not going to get a rise out of you. Instead, make sure to praise the good behaviour you're seeing, the students who are getting on with their work or the ones who are being polite and engaged. This could encourage the student to change their behaviour in order to get the attention and praise they're looking for. And it's a great way to start. But if the student is used to getting their own way, ignoring them might make them try harder. Should the behaviour escalate to a high level of disruption or the student is putting themselves or another at risk, this should not be ignored. So stage 2, divert it. As we said, all behaviour is a form of communication. The student may be misbehaving due to boredom or lack of focus or attention. By diverting the attention of the student away from what's causing a disruption to something relevant and engaging, they will be gaining positive attention. They could be acting out as they're struggling to complete the work set and they're embarrassed. Instead of saying this, they're trying to distract you and the rest of the class so you won't notice that they're struggling. So talk to them privately about the work and offer support. Or on the other hand, they might have actually finished quickly and they're bored. Give them an extra task to do or see if they can help someone else. If you are diverting them to something that makes them feel like they have a responsibility, they're more likely to do a good job. Try asking them to hand out the workbooks for the class, or ask them to share their answers, or give them a new book to look at. Now remember, only get them to share their answers if you know they're not struggling. You don't want to call them out and embarrass them. By making their diversion interesting and easy to understand, the greater the chance of getting a positive reaction from them. Asking them to complete a task with a set time scale will mean they have to focus in order to complete the task and receive the attention and praise that they're really looking for. But what if you've tried ignoring and tried diverting the student, but they continue to be disruptive, or they choose not to engage with the task? Well, that's stage 3, challenge it. When we're frustrated, it's natural to want to raise our voice, assert our dominance, and demand respect. But we know that's not going to work. If a student has already decided to be mischievous, rising to their behaviour would be like a red rag to a bull. See our video on calm communication for more on how to remain calm. And whilst you're there, click on the bell and subscribe to keep hearing more from My Progression. Instead of rising to this, we're going to challenge their behaviour calmly in a neutral, non-aggressive tone. First, think of the location. Are you in the middle of a busy classroom where the student may feel embarrassed? Or are you somewhere loud where they'll easily be distracted? Is there somewhere else you can have the discussion where you'll get the most attention from the student? Now, obviously, you can't leave the class unattended, but if you have support from the TA or another member of staff, taking them out of the room could be a benefit. So now we can start by recapping the behavioural expectations that they agreed to, making them responsible for their actions. Next, explain what it is they've done that's unacceptable, followed by what you expect moving forwards. If I said to you, don't touch this plate, it's really hot, what are you going to do? Of course you're going to touch it, even though you know you shouldn't. It's human nature. So when you're discussing the student's behaviour, avoid the do nots and replace them with the behaviour that you want to see. Instead of, can you stop messing around at the back of the classroom? Try, I expect you to sit nicely and focus on your work, please. It's not about making them feel bad about their actions, but making them understand why it's not appropriate. Now, the beauty of following the ignore, divert, challenge model is that it can be repeated time and time again. Hopefully, the student's behaviour improves the first time, but if it doesn't, you can always start again. And the more you get to know the students throughout the day, the easier it will be to learn how to deal with their behaviour. We're not going to pretend that working as a supply teacher or starting out in a new classroom is always sunshine and rainbows. Some days we may have to deal with more challenging behaviour than we would like. But remember, you're not alone. Every school will have a clear behavioural policy, and if the behaviour continues to escalate, there will be staff members on hand to support and assist. So the next time you're in a new class, just remember, if it's low level, bit of silliness, just ignore it. Don't give them negative attention. If that behaviour level increases, then divert their attention to a positive action. If it continues, then you must challenge it and where possible, remove them from the room to address this. I've been Natalie from My Progression. And if you've enjoyed this video on how to ignore, divert, and challenge difficult behaviour in the classroom, then like, subscribe, and click on the bell below to keep hearing more from My Progression. And let's keep your career in motion.